To get started creating your custom Photoshop template, let's begin with a brand new document. You can get to this start page by going to File, New. Initially, you're taken to your Recent Documents page, so your initial listing of pages may not look exactly like mine. Let's click on the Web tab here, and then select this Web Large option, which is scaled to a 1080p screen or 1920 by 1080 pixels. Now, it really doesn't matter which of these templates that you start with. Ideally, you would want to choose one that is generally the largest size that you will likely need for your collection of assets. Now, the thing that you do want to pay attention to is over here in the preset details side, and it's to make sure that this checkbox for artboards is checked. We'll leave everything else set to its default and simply click the Create button down at the bottom. Now, when your document opens, there are a couple of things to point out that we haven't seen before, and those are all related to artboards. Thus far, all of our Photoshop files have contained a single composition, and so Photoshop has politely obscured the artboard from us for that single composition. But in this file, you see this little bit of text that's here above the upper left corner of the canvas that says Artboard 1. And if you look over here in your Layers panel, you see we have a new type of layer heading that's called Artboard 1 as well. Now, double-clicking on that name here in the Layers panel will allow you to edit the name just like you can for any other layer. Let's call this artboard by the size that it is of 1920 by 1080. Then hit Enter or Return to lock that in. All of the contents for this artboard appear on the layers that are contained underneath of it. Notice that when we change the name of the artboard here, it also changed the name of the artboard on our canvas. If you click one time on the name of the artboard on your canvas, then your Move tool, which normally is located here at the top of your toolbar, has changed to the Artboard tool. And you have these icons around the four corners of your artboard that have a circle with a plus sign in them. Clicking on one of those will allow you to add a new artboard in that direction, and it should automatically open up your Properties panel. You can change the size of these new artboards by grabbing any of the corners and clicking and dragging them, or by typing in a width and height value here in the Properties panel. I'll set this panel to be 1280 pixels wide, then hit the Tab key to jump over the height and type in 720. And then hit Enter or Return to lock in the dimensions of the artboard, and it resizes to that new size. Now let's change the name of this new artboard over in our Layers panel by double-clicking on it and typing in the new name of 1280 by 720. Now, both of these artboards are appropriately sized for slides, video files, and several other usage. Let's zoom out with Command or Control minus a few times. Then click again on the name for the 1920 by 1080 artboard, and then click the plus sign at the bottom to add a new artboard underneath this one. Let's change this one to a width of 1200 pixels wide, tab over, and make it 600 pixels tall. Then once again, let's rename that artboard over in our Layers panel to 1200 by 600. Now, to keep things organized, drag your artboards into an appropriate stacking order. I'll move this 1280 by 720 artboard underneath of the 1920 by 1080 and release when I see the thin blue line. And then I'll also move this 1200 by 600 artboard down underneath of my 1280. Now they're in a nice logical order. You would then repeat this whole process for the other common sizes that you need for your web-based tools and document formats that you typically use. Now, here's an example file that I prepared, which contains a variety of common sizes for slides, LMS, main course banners, sidebar graphics, WordPress blog posts, featured images, and so forth. Now, for the rest of this chapter, I'm going to use this smaller subset of these banner sizes to work through the rest of the exercises with. In the next movie, I'll show you a quick trick for figuring out the common graphic and container sizes for your site so you can customize this template to your own teaching and learning needs.